Also joining us this afternoon is Bicol Salo Party List and Public Accounts Committee Chairman, Congressman Terry Ridon. Sir, magandang hapon and thank you for joining us today.
Ay, magandang hapon. Maraming salamat sa pag-imbita.
Magandang hapon, Kong Terry. Long time no see. Ano bang costume nyo ngayon?
DPWH.
Walang Halloween. Walang Halloween ngayon.
Walang Halloween?
Walang Halloween? Bawal ang party ngayon sa house?
Walang party. Walang party. Hindi pwede mag-party ngayon.
Sir, let me zoom into one specific question already. There was a joint statement by Labor and Business calling for giving greater powers
ICI.
to the ICI. Kasi nga naman, it's an executive body, so basically wala siyang magagawa kung hindi gustong magpakita yung mga ini-invite. Wala kang contempt powers eh. But at the same time, I understand there are also some proposals in the lower chamber to empower the ICI with these kinds of powers. How are we as far as that is concerned, and what's the temper in the lower chamber for that?
So I think both House of Congress, meron po yung mga legislation na to basically grant contempt and subpoena powers to the ICI. So pagbalik ko ng Kongreso sa Nobyembre, I think isasalang na po yan sa pagdinig. And hopefully yung Senado talaga magpatuloy po yung nauna na po nilang pagdinig dito para mapabilisan po talaga yung pagbibigay ng dagdag lakas sa ICI po.
Pero sir, there are two different versions. There's of course one for the ICI specifically. Tapos there's another commission being proposed, itong People's Commission. So people are sometimes conflating the two. But these apparently are two very different things. For example, the ICI itself. I'm sure you've been in touch with your colleagues. So what do they think of the proposal to empower the ICI to have contempt powers? Mukha bang papasayan?
Hindi ko papasayon. Kailangan po masayon. Yung contempt saka sa subpoena powers. Kasi yan naman po yung basic problem po ng ICI at this point. So ang kanyang subpoena ay para lang sa executive officers, employees. Hindi talaga yan nagbabind sa mga non-executive resource persons like Congress and private person. So yan po yung basic weakness niya today. Nakita na natin yan sa Madiskaya when they opted out sa cooperation with the ICI. So, I think most certainly Senate and Congress will really make sure na meron contempt and subpoena powers po yung po ICI in that future legislation.
Kong, ano yung isang proposed bill dyan ni very famous Congressman Kiko na bill naman para sa Kwan?
Oh naman, you have to bring it up.
Yung sa citizens investigation, participation. Ano bang bill yun?
Hindi ko alam eh. Marami siya kasing sinasabi in the last couple of days, so I'm lost at the speed of his legislative power. So I don't know. I haven't seen it actually.
But
parang civilian naman yun, civilian investigation commission.
But you seem to have engaged in a online word war with him, Kong. I often see you responding to, things that he said. And siya din, likewise, right? How are you guys in real life?
I haven't been speaking to him, but yung dati niya, kaibigan ko talaga, si Congressman P.D. Barzaga. Magaling talaga yun. Magaling na abogado yun. Magaling na legislator yun. I cannot say the same for him. Particularly with yung pong panawagan niya to abolish the PCG. Kasi I think fundamental statement on the unity of the WPS question po yan yung binabanggit niya eh. Hindi ba? So parang I think that really had to be taken down, na talagang decisively. Kasi yung mga PCG po natin, yan yung mga nasasaktan sa WPS fight eh. Tapos i-abolish mo lang, parang medyo malabo naman yun.
Hindi naman nagagalit yung tatay niya sa'yo for hitting his son.
Patay na.
Okay, sorry.
Ano na yun eh, nasa langit na yun eh. Kaya,
okay, sorry, I didn't know.
Talagang pinagdadasal ko yun lahat.
Baka mabulto.
Congressman, tapos na yung yung deliberations diyan sa House on the budget. Ano po yung nakikita nyo? Kasi meron kayong mga in-introduce na reforms for transparency. Pero sinabi sa amin ni Congressman Shell Jokno, di naman daw nakaparticipate actually yung civil society. Sabi niya, I mean, it's a work in progress, we know. Pero kayo, on your part, ano yung nakikita niyo pwede pang gawin by way of reforms para ma-improve yung transparency and accountability at mabawasan yung risk na maulit itong hinaharap natin ngayon na napakalaking corruption scandal?
Siyempre, yung bola po ngayon nasa Senado na ngayon. Pero yung UA po,
Yes.
yung unprogrammed appropriations budget po yung, I think, magiging flashpoint dyan. Kung entirely ba siyang tatanggalin o ititira na lang po yung foreign assistant projects fund, no? Sa unprogrammed appropriation. So, I think we will wait for what the Senate will do, and I guess in the BICAM, that will be an actual discussion with the Senate.
Very clear
Pero
kasi yung
payag ba
posisyon
kayong greater participation ng civil society? Hindi naman daw nakapagsalita, hindi daw nakapagbigay ng input during the open hearing. Anong tingin niyo na pwedeng baguhin doon?
Well, siguro, pinuhin lang siguro yung civil society aspect, no, ng budget deliberation participation, no? Kasi, siyempre, dapat naman talaga pwedeng magbigay ng mga proposals, no? Yung pong mga civil society, ano yung mga line items na gusto nila ipasok, ano yung mga proposals na gusto nila tanggalin, ano yung mga policy on the budget na gusto nila ipasok. So, dapat, I guess in the next budget deliberation, magawa po natin ulit. Pero to be very clear, wala yan dati. Ngayon lang ho yan nagkaroon ng innovation. No? So,
Yes.
pagka maipino ho natin yan muli sa susunod pong taon, baka naman ho, mahikayat natin muli yung civil society na mag-participate.
May tanong ka?
Kung very specific kasi si Senator Ping Lacson. Sabi niya ay haharangin namin yung unprogrammed allocation na proposal o kasama dun sa sinabit ng House
243 billion thereabouts.
sa BICAM, no? So, meron ba kayong reaction doon? Willing ba kayong mag-compromise? Meron na ba kayong napag-usapan sa House na middle ground? Or talagang, drawn yung line?
Well, una sa lahat, kailangan ko maglinaw. Hindi naman ako bahagi ng Appropriations Committee. Nasa Oversight Committee ako. Pero yung personal ko kasing pagtingin dyan, yung pong UA dapat confined lang siya doon sa mga responding to disasters, responding to emergencies, no? Yan yung talagang red line for me nung pong paggamit ng UA. So anything na new construction, anything na hindi ho rehabilitation ng infrastructure, dapat hindi po yan kasama dyan.
But I think he wants to move yung ayuda out of the unprogrammed appropriations, ibabalikin sa program appropriations. Ang maiwan lang, if I understood correctly, was FAPs, the Foreign Assisted Projects, which in the first place was under program, nilipat lang to unprogrammed in recent years. What do you make of this?
Well, yung po nga paglilipat ng ayuda from unprogrammed to program, actually, pwede yung gawin ng Senado yan. So I think they will have to decide. I think the reason bakit nasa UA po yung additional ayuda, hindi yan yung in place already na ayuda na nakalagay sa DSWD at sa iba pang mga ahensya. So ito yung parang in the event of additional need, meron kang standby under UA. No? So I guess ang idea po ng Kongreso dyan, parang ayaw nilang isang bagsakan na nakalagay sa program kasi kung hindi naman nila magagamit yan during the course of the year, edi parang sayang yung pera. No? So ibig sabihin, kaya nakatabi lang siya under UA.
On a different note, kamusta lang Quadcom?
Wala pa masyadong updates, no, on the Quadcom. Pero syempre, I guess fundamental concern pa rin yan, yung missing sabongeros, no? So hopefully pagka nagkita-kita ulit kami ng mga Quadcom chairs, mapag-usapan namin kung kailan yung susunod pong hearing. Pero as far as I'm concerned, yung pong sa Public Accounts Committee, yung Dolomite investigation, I think pagbalik namin, baka pwede na ho namin ikasama.
Okay.
What about the Dolomite specifically?
Hindi, kasi supposedly ano yung sa maunang mga committee hearings na gagawin po namin under the new Congress, naitabi lang yun dahil nagkaroon ng infra-com, no? So, dahil nagsuspend na po kami sa House Infrastructure Committee, pwede na po kami bumalik doon sa mga main committee hearings ng public accounts which includes ito pong Dolomite investigation ng Manila Bay Project.
May nabanggit din tungkol dun sa reclamation sa Laguna de Bay. Sinabi ng DENR na ang classification daw noon is flood control, pero yun daw satellite imaging nila they are actually reclamation projects. May balak din ba kayo na tingnan nun?
Iba pang bagay po yun. So, syempre,
Yes.
yung pong mga reclamation kasi isa sa mga tinuturo yan na parang dahilan ng baha, no? Sa Metro
Yes.
Manila at sa iba pang mga lugar. So, I think rightly so. Dapat pong magkaroon po ng mga pagdinig. Inaantay ko lang po meron pong mga House resolutions po investigating reclamation. I think meron po on Manila Bay. Yung on Laguna de Bay, I'm not quite certain. I have to check po then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Coming back to the flood control investigation, Congressman, you issued a statement recently, describing a quote-unquote coordinated political operation that was meant to poison political discourse. Who or what exactly are you describing here? What do you know?
Well, ang itsura ho talaga nitong Guteza affidavit, no? Parang nakita ho natin sa Manila Regional Trial Court na falsified yung mga signature, no? Again, to be very clear, ibang bagay yung falsification po ng notarization doon po sa Senate testimony, no? Yung valid yung Senate testimony will have to be subjected to further scrutiny. Pero the problem with Mr. Guteza really is sana nung pinaghandaan na po yung affidavit, ginawa na ho nilang tama para hindi ho mabutasan yung ultimate credibility po ng tao. Kumbaga, on the affidavit and on his Senate testimony.
I mean, that was what we were talking about yesterday with the former Congressman Mike Defensor. His point was that dapat the investigation should proceed anyway based on Guteza's testimony. Never immaterial daw sa kanya yung issue of the notary public. Even though yun nga, as you pointed out, the notary public herself has come forward and said that that's not her. And the court has found that it was falsified. Both the seal and the signature were falsified. Yeah, but I'm curious about the coordinated political operation that you're talking about here. What do you know that we don't?
Beyond the Gutesa issue.
Well, siyempre, parang nakakagulat yung pagsulpot ni Mr. Guteza, hindi ba? I think it was basically narrated by Senator Marcoleta na si Mr. Guteza was, I think, approached former Congressman Mike Defensor, and then Congressman Mike Defensor approached Senator Marcoleta. No? So, ibig sabihin, parang, kumbaga, bakit hindi nagpunta si Mr. Guteza directly to the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee? Diba? Bakit meron pang ang daming mga pinuntahang mga daanan? Kung katotohanan naman yung gusto natin talagang abutin dito.
But you haven't heard anything else other than, I mean, I know you're questioning Guteza's credibility, pero outside of that, wala ka naman nakita in terms of specifically the coordinated political operation that you're talking about to poison the public discourse.
Well, we will have to see. Well, firstly, syempre, yung pong falsified affidavit will ultimately be part of that, no, of that coordinated political operation. Pero again, the challenge is really on Mr. Guteza to reappear again before the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee. And syempre, I think si Senator Lacson would want to coordinate with Senator Marcoleta and Congressman Defensor, no, to basically locate Mr. Guteza. Di ba? So, para doon sila magpaliwanag sa komite. Di ba? Talaga bang anong nangyari dyan? Ano yung kwento ng affidavit na yan? Meron ba silang kinalaman dyan?
So, I take it to mean you don't find him all that credible? Kasi in your statement, you also said that falsehoods were deliberately engineered to mislead public official inquiries and poison public discourse. So I take it to mean that you don't fully subscribe to what Guteza is saying.
Well, this is basically a response to Congressman Mike, no, on what he is saying na immaterial yung affidavit. Alam po ninyo, material yung affidavit and the testimony. Kasi ang totoo, kung hindi falsified yung affidavit plus maayos yung Senate testimony ni Mr. Gutesa, wala naman tayong pinag-uusapang bagay na ganito ngayon. Hindi ba? So, ibig sabihin, talagang decisively material. Ito pong pagka-falsify nitong notarization po na ito doon sa credibility ni Mr. Gutesa moving forward. So, I think that is what we need to clarify at this point.
Pero sir, let me take a step back lang and try to look at it from a third eye or third perspective. What would he have to gain by falsifying notary public and public signature and seal for a testimony that he would also be repeating under oath in the Senate? And number two, hindi mo nga ba gawain talaga ng mga notary public yan na hindi talaga sila yung kaupo at kung sino lang nandun siya yung pipirma and so therefore yung anumang pirma ng pumirma doon will not match the actual signature of the attorney.
Hindi, okay yan. Okay yung binabanggit mo kung hindi tayo nag-Manila Regional Trial Court proceedings. Hindi ba? Yan yung pinag-usapan previous to the RTC. Pero nag-uusapan na ngayon kung pirma ba nung notary public yan o hindi.
Yes, sir.
Diba? So, ibig sabihin, again, to answer your question, hindi naman kailangan meron siyang he has anything to gain dyan sa bagay na yan. Diba? Ang importante, you have to go to court, you have to go to the committee with clean hands. No? So, kumbaga, dapat when you made your affidavit, in-ensure mo talaga na humarap ka before an actual notary public, yung abogado yung kausap mo, pinirmahan niya yun in front of you. Hindi ba? Kasi hindi naman simpleng bagay ito. Hindi naman ako nagpapanotaryo lang ng lisensya na affidavit of loss. Hindi ba? This is one of the most important affidavits in this flood control hearing. Hindi ba? Bakit parang pupunta ka lang doon para papapirma kung kani-kanino? Hindi ba?
Kung on a
Congressman, may
different note,
naamoy ba kayong
Congressman,
grupo? Kung
kamusta
kanino?
na ang House ngayon? Paano ang balita namin, pag natapos na yung budget, magkakaroon ng changes sa leadership, sa chairmanships, no, deputy speakers. May ganun bang malapit nang mangyari? Ano bang balita dyan?
Hindi ko alam. Wala akong masyadong balita.
Malapit na
I think
mangyari.
nagpapahinga muna yung mga congressman sa mga distrito nila. Nag-iikot. Tingin ko doon sila focused at this point. No?
So,
Congressman, yung coordinated political ninyo, may nakikita ba kayong grupo, any particular group, that you want to name na suspetsya nyo behind it?
Tignan pa natin. I think malalaman natin yan pagka sinalang po yung mga napangalan ng mga tao sa Senate Blue Ribbon Committee.
Okay.
That's,
Ano naman yung
parang, yeah. No, I mean, so you think there are names in relation to that? Yung nag-coordinate ng political operation?
Oo nga. Any names?
Because,
Tingnan natin in the Blue Ribbon Committee. Diba? Kasi pinangalanan naman sila eh. Diba? In that, during the course of that Blue Ribbon Committee hearing. So, sila din naman natin mga na-interview ngayon. So, very important na they have to say their piece in the committee under oath.
okay. Okay, we'll leave that there. Thank you so much for talking to us today, Public Accounts Committee Chairman, Congressman Terry Ridon.
Thank you, sir.
Salamat, Kong.
Thank you,
Salamat. Ganda
Congressman.
hapon.